This is the 28storms.com tropical weather update for Sunday, November 6th. We are still monitoring the Gale Low Pressure Center located to the south-southwest of Bermuda, and it is being outlined in the latest tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center, although they are only giving this low a 10% chance of subtropical development within the next 48 hours. A gale warning is still in effect for Bermuda through Monday, and we still see that wave heights are exceeding 25 feet in the western Atlantic, and some of these higher waves are making it to the southeast United States coastline. In fact, high surf advisories are in effect for much of the east coast of Florida. The latest visible satellite animation continues to indicate that this low pressure area is in no rush to go anywhere. In fact, it's still located in the same general location that it was at this time yesterday afternoon. And in terms of convection, the highest and strongest convective activity is still occurring just to the northeast of the center, and for this system to acquire more subtropical characteristics, we need to see more convection begin to develop right over that low pressure area. And on the latest water vapor, the moisture is trying to feed into that mid to upper level low, but it still has a long way to go. In fact, there's still quite a lot of dry air, especially on the western and southern side of this system. Synoptically speaking, the pattern is verifying as forecast over the last several days. The trough has left the western Atlantic, and now we have a ridge beginning to develop over the northeast and Canadian Maritimes that is going to allow for this upper level low to remain nearly stationary for the next few days until this much stronger trough that's really not even quite in the picture yet begins to come in and draw this whole entire system northward. The latest 12Z run of the CMC model continues to deepen the low at the surface, and that is the main reason why we are still going to monitor this system for any sign of subtropical development. But either way, the system will be drawn northward out in advance of that upcoming trough, and it will more than likely enhance the rain and winds across portions of New England, and perhaps even more likely some of the portions of the Canadian Maritimes. The latest 12Z run of the GFS model is also deepening the surface low over the next 48 to 72 hours, and much like the CMC, it gets absorbed by that non-tropical system, and the bulk share of low pressure gets sent northward into Canada. However, the 12Z run of the ECMWF has a slightly different scenario of the forecast. Much like the CMC and GFS, however, the low does deepen down to 1002 millibars, and then as we go into the day on Friday, it merges with that non-tropical system, and here we have a 989 millibar surface low over much of New England, and that could be a rather significant weather system if this run were to verify. And finally, the following are some of the cyclone phase diagrams from the CMC, GFS, and UK Met models, and basically these allow us to figure out whether or not the models are beginning to develop that area of low pressure more so as a non-tropical low or a subtropical system. And all three, especially the UK Met model, are showing the system gradually beginning to at least attempt to acquire some subtropical characteristics. In this case, however, the classification really is insignificant because the impacts will be the same regardless, and perhaps the biggest question mark will be whether or not this system trends more toward the northeast. If it does so, it will have a better chance of rapidly deepening as it nears the coast as a non-tropical system, and that could provide New England with some gusty wind conditions and a couple inches of rainfall. Otherwise, it could remain just off the U.S. East Coast and trend more toward Canada, and that will still bring Canada with the same general impacts, gusty winds, and some rainy weather. Elsewhere, the tropics are quiet, and we'll just go ahead and take another look at things in tomorrow afternoon's video. So thanks again for viewing 28storms.com. We will have more updates on this event, along with the potential for severe weather in the southern plains.